Hey guys, welcome back. Let's have a little fun. Let's do a little comparison. I got super lucky the other day. I was out at, uh, one second. Okay, sorry, back. I did grab something. Um, See, I got super lucky just yesterday, no, the day before. I was not feeling like doing anything, you know what I mean? I was chilling. I've taken a couple days vacation. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna chill. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go out and I've been stuck in the house for a couple of days chilling. I said, I'm gonna go out for a drive. I said, blah blah blah. Anyway, wasn't even gonna stop. I said, you know, I'm gonna stop at the. I normally don't go to this particular thrift store because it's super corporate, expensive for what it is, uh, and it's a Value Village slash Savers. I usually go to more local, independently owned thrift stores and stuff like that around here because most of the time you walk into, you know, the Value Village, and I mean literally, I'm not exaggerating. They got shirts there you can buy at Walmart and Superstore for like $5 each on their shelf for like $8.99. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I'm not complaining. You know, I have found things in there before, such as this, but it's really one of those things. It's not worth going most of the time. Right? But anyway, so you know, I haven't stopped in a while. I'll stop in. You know, I just kind of like to look. Mostly, I like to look at the knickknacks. That just to think that, like, first off, who would have bought this in the first place, and secondly, who would have thought I'm going to donate this treasure? Somebody's going to want this. You know, combination tire pressure ashtray, shaped like fucking Florida. You know, like it's fun sometimes just to see what people buy and then donate. Um, but anyway, walk in. They've got their little glass section. They call it the showcase. And sitting in there was a few bottles of cologne. I was like, oh, that's cool. And it was nothing particular, you know. A lot of just the cheap dupes, which is another thing. They've got a bunch of these. They had half a dozen or not more of the preferred fragrance ones for like $20, for $4 or $5 new. Anyway, besides the point, they did have some legitimate fragrances there, and I might go back today. There was a third one. There was a Salvatore Ferragamo Pour Homme, the original. Uh, I never bought it. I don't know why, but I bought two, and the first one I bought was for $15. Lacoste Essential. The cap's a little messed up, but you know, just a nice fragrance. I'll wear it. It's a nice little citrusy sport type fragrance. But what I was super stoked about, I said, no way, they didn't have that here. Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme. I know, saying Pour Homme, no big deal. Boom. 94 Italy version. The sticker, and this is, oh man, the caps scratched up and beat up. I mean, look at this atomizer. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but it's got like, it's yellowed from yellow. It's like oil from the sticky yellow. Oh, old school, man, old school. Guess how much? $20. $20. I was like, trying to, you know, I don't want to get super excited. Then they see they got something worth a lot more than that. And so as you know, the Dolce & Gabbana, any form of the Dolce & Gabbana, even the Intenso, is a great Italian, fresh Italian kind of cologne. Gorgeous. Probably one of my favorites. One of my most. I don't talk about Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme a lot, but it is definitely one of my favorites. Yeah. Anyway, Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme, $19. This was what it's about. So I wore this yesterday and compared it to my 19 was it 2012 Dolce & Gabbana Germany release. This is the made in Italy, and you can tell the big difference. First off, made in Italy, made in Germany on the back. The color is ever so slightly darker on this one. That could just be age though, but it is darker. A little more yellowy green in this one than this one. But the big tell is the sticker, right? Look at that sticker. That's beat up and old, peeling off in the corner. It's great. So anyway, And for those of you who don't know, this goes for a lot of money. Like, I went online, the cheapest I seen it online was, and I didn't do a huge research or anything. I went on eBay's about the only place you go for stuff like that. And I looked at the first two pages for this one, and the ones I found, most of them were going between $250, you know, few extras. Some of them were a little higher, box, bigger bottles. But, you know, for the basic 75 mil out of box, we'll say 2.25 on average for this. And this was, you get at discounts for like 50, 60 bucks. So, you know, quite $20, $250, right? So, still I was stoked. But anyway, I said, you know what, let's do a comparison. Because I remember wearing this back in the day. I don't remember it. I remember it smelling like this smelling just the same. But I mean, 15 years ago, really. So let's do a comparison. So I wore one in each. I didn't wear it like as a complete fragrance. I just went a couple on here. Or no, I went a couple here. And a couple here. And I just refreshed for this video to put a spray on each. Oh God, that's good. And that's good too. So let's talk about the notes. We'll do the notes, and I'll do all the notes that I could find listed, and then tell you which ones are the same in each one of them. This one has a lot more notes listed, of course. This is the way it was, but this one has quite a few too. So let's do the 94 first. Off the top, you're getting lavender, lemon, bergamot, mandarin orange, tarragon, neroli, and clary sage. On the top of this one, you're getting citrus, bergamot, neroli, mandarin orange. The mid in this one is pepper, cinnamon, coriander, geranium, violet, jasmine, and rose. The middle in this one is lavender, sage, and pepper. The base in this one is tobacco, tonka, sandalwood, cedar, amber, coumarin, and iris. The base in this one is tobacco, tonka, and cedar. I'm sure there's a little more going on in this one than they're saying, but that's generally what you get. Now, off the top, the notes that are the same: lavender. This has it in the mid. This has it in the top. This has it in the mid. Citruses, mandarin orange. Both of them have them. Pepper. Both of them have pepper. Both of them have tobacco. Both of them have tonka. Both of them have cedar. You know, both of them have lavender, of course. And yeah, I mean, they're pretty similar in their note breakdown. This has a lot more, but you know, this is pretty similar in that note breakdown. You know, a lot of the notes are the same, which you'd expect, right? But at the end of the day, the three biggest things you pick up for both of them, honestly, lavender, citrus, and tobacco. Right? Lavender, citrus, tobacco. So they're pretty close. But let's get into the differences first off, shall we? The 94 version is obviously a little darker, a little denser, a little sweeter, more complex, of course. You do get more citrus, aromatic, lavender type thing out of this one than you do this one, but again, pretty similar. The 94 version, slightly spicier, even a touch of a creamy smoothness, and definitely a slight green, minty, powdery floral vibe from all the florals that are in it, and a nice clean lavender. This one here, it lacks the nuances that this one has to me. Still nice, but more focused on the soft pepper, spice, and clean lavender in the mid. Really lacks that smoothness, and definitely a little more sharp. Sorry, I was doing top, mid, and this is the base. The difference is in the base kind of deal. Both have this beautifully dry tobacco lavender kind of vibe to it. Both of them, that's pretty much the base for both of them, and they're both gorgeous. This one here, the original, has a bit of a warmth to it. I'm assuming from the amber, it's a bit warmer, a bit of a spice and clean, powdery, light powdery. It's not a powdery scent, but there's a powderiness to it, and I'm guessing that's probably coming from the iris. Whereas this is more focused on the dry tobacco lavender. It lacks most of the spice and powdery floral kind of vibe you get in this one. So that's kind of the differences. But quite honestly, the differences, while noticeable, aren't exactly night and day. You know, you're not going to smell this and smell this and, you know, completely different fragrances. No, they're pretty, like, yeah, they're pretty similar, guys, honestly. This is definitely, I wish how I can't really explain the difference when I say this, but what I'm trying to say is this is just more, has a little more depth, a little more complexity to it. Uh, just everything's a little more in this, except this projects better. Doesn't project as well as this. This lasts longer. This doesn't project. You get a solid couple hours projection out of this one. This one here, about an hour, hour and a half. This one's a little more than an arm's length. This one's about an arm's length. Still very similar, but you know, there is that difference. Where this one shines over this one is that sillage, that, you know, you get a solid few hours of this where people are going to pick it up. You leave this and lost a trail. This one, you do have that for a couple hours, but it's not near as prominent, you know, or as complex. And the dry downs, like I said, pretty much the same mostly. It's just lavender, tobacco, a little bit of spice. Honestly, this is, like I said, a little more powdery than this, but for the most part, the dry downs are the same. So, is the '94 version better than my 2012 Germany? And I heard there's also another version made in France. I don't have it unless I come across it. I'm not going to bother. But these seem to be the two most people talk about. So, is this better? Yes, it is a better fragrance. This is, like I said, a little more nuanced, a little thicker, a little denser, a little bit better performance. I didn't tell you the longevity. So about 5 hours on this one. Get about 7 hours on this one. So, you know, 6, 7, 4, 5, 6, 7. So, you know, yeah, it's definitely. But the differences are so minute that this is not worth. This is worth $250. I personally believe that. It's a beautiful fragrance, one of the best designer fragrances ever made. I will argue that point till I die. But it's not $200, $200+ better than this one. This one gets you so close to this one for 50, 60 bucks. It is, I mean, unless you get lucky like I did and you find this bottle for under $100, just go with this, honestly. It still gets the job done, still gives you that Dolce & Gabbana pour home vibe. It's a little less complexity, of course, but I just can't, I wouldn't own this if I didn't find it for $20. Like, you know, this is perfectly fine. Does the job just right. Not worth the big. Now there's Dolce & Gabbana's purists out there that are, nope, worth every penny. This is garbage, blah, 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 blah. No, it's not. No, it's not. They are fanboys. They are cult members, whatever you want to call them. They are completely, this will do the trick. I would get this if you can for a decent price, or if you don't mind spending $250. Like I said, it's worth it to me. It's just not worth it when you compare it to this. So yeah, that's it, guys. That's the differences. Definitely a better fragrance, but not $200 better. Not even close. These are so. All the differences I said were so minor and nuanced at the end of the day, because both of these basically focus on the citrus, lavender, and tobacco. And they both do that pretty good, pretty similar. So, choice is yours, but I wouldn't seek this out if you don't. If you come across a good price, absolutely pick it up. And even if you don't want it, you can sell it for a decent price. So, make some money if you want it, but yeah. So that's it, guys. Tell me what you think. Have you tried both of them? And I mean actually tried, not like, oh, I remember this one, because I don't care how good your memory is, 10, 15, 20 years ago, you're not remembering this the same way as this. You just can't. You just, unless you got like a photographic memory. And so tell me, do you own this one? Have you tried this one? Do you own this one? Have you tried this one recently, within a couple weeks, a month? Tell me you think that if it's worth the money. I just really don't. But hey, that's just me. All right, guys, peace. Love, be good to each other, and be good to yourselves.